following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
Yeah. What's up, PSA listeners? Welcome back to another episode of Public Sports Announcement. I'm your host, Alvin Glenn. I'm here with my two co-hosts.
What's going on, listeners? This is Sam here.
Hey, hope everybody's doing well. Razan here.
Hey, what's going on? We're back with a new episode. We got some good news for everybody. We got new platforms that you guys can listen to us on. So we've now on Public Radio and iHeartRadio, along with the usual iTunes, Google Play, and Go Defy Life. More news from Go Defy Life. We got some new paraphernalia on the website with a blue theme. So please go get your blue Go Defy Life shirts, hoodies, sweats, hats, whatever you want. We got it. The old clothes are still on there. The white ones, black ones are still there. We just added a little variety for everybody. As we know, the NBA season is here. So we're going to have an NBA special similar to the way we did for the NFL. This episode is going to be all NBA. We're going to be talking contenders, shakeups in the standings, sleeper teams, and we'll end on some MVP talk and some impromptu questions for our hosts just to see how they feel about this coming NBA season. So without any further ado, let's get started with some contenders. I'll lob it up for both of you guys. The question is basically, in the Western Conference, what are your top four teams, and which one of them do you feel are honest NBA final contenders?
In the Western, it's a given that the Warriors are title contender or the title favorites. And for the rest of this podcast, I'd kind of like to just pretend that the Warriors don't exist so we can talk about teams like they actually have a chance of winning. So
I agree. I was going to say the same exact thing.
Yeah, I would love to just ignore the Warriors for this whole podcast.
I'm here for that.
Okay, cool. So my top four teams are the Lakers, the Rockets, the Thunder, and the Jazz. I feel like those are the teams probably with the most talent in the West. LBJ coming to the West for the first time in his career. That'll be crazy interesting to see, and how he pairs up with the youngins over there in LA. And I think it'll be a good partnership with him and Luke Walton. The Rockets, they added Melo this offseason, so they'll be interesting to see. I think they got a little bit better. I feel like Melo's going to fit in with them a little better because they're a three-shooting team, and they like to find open shots, and that's kind of Melo's MO. And the Thunder, my boy, hopefully everyone stays healthy this year, and you'll see the true potential that we have. And the Jazz are just young, up-and-coming. They got some real nice young players over there, so we'll see how they develop this year.
Yeah, I'd go hand in hand with you saying that it's not really even close for any other NBA team. So it's like, okay, I firmly believe the Warriors are going to win the championship. So it's like, who else is going to win the NBA championship? Because that's kind of the question we have to pose because of their dominance. My standings are pretty similar to yours, Sam. I have the Lakers, the Rockets, the Thunder, and I actually have the Denver Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are a really good team. I think they're going to be similar to what the Jazz were last year. They have talent. I believe Jokic is one of the best players in the league. I don't know if he'll be the MVP, but I think he'll be in the MVP conversation. He's extremely talented. He could really do everything all around the court. So those are my top four. Sam, you said most of what I was going to say about the rest of the teams. But the Thunder are always a question mark. They never seem to be clicking. I think this is the year, with the year that Paul George and Russell Westbrook had together, I think it's going to be better for them this year. I also think that if there was a surprise team that I had to pick outside of the Warriors to win the NBA championship in the West, it would be the Oklahoma City Thunder, just because of Russell Westbrook and Paul George. I think there's enough talent around them for them to play better, for them to be more consistent. We need Russ to be we need him to be more efficient. He's not the most efficient guy, and if he can do that for full season, or honestly when it matters most, I think they could put themselves in pretty good position to win the NBA championship if they have a surprise win against the Warriors, or the Warriors get knocked out somehow in the playoffs.
Wow, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little surprised. I didn't think either one of you guys had mentioned the Nuggets. So you guys have taken the talking point. Shout out to y'all. But like you said, Razan, I got the Nuggets in my top four. Mine looks pretty similar to all, the Rockets, the Lakers, OKC, and then the Nuggets. I agree. I think Jokic is a really good player. I don't know. MVP conversation is kind of tough because one thing I'm not gonna say worries me, but I've noticed about Jokic is because of his lack of defensive athleticism, even offensive athleticism, but it shows the most on defense. He doesn't really change the game on that side of the floor. He rebounds really well, and on offense, he's really good, but his lack of athleticism kind of shows, and it hurts our ceiling. But the player on that team that has to be the most optimistic is Jamal Murray. I'm confident that he's probably going to be the NBA's most improved player, and I wouldn't be shocked if Jamal Murray is a 20-point scorer next year. No problem. He's gonna get a lot of shots playing off Jokic, and he can really shoot the ball and is really streaky. So it's a pretty young team, but I think fourth or fifth is a good goal for them this year. But like you guys said, everything else, I feel the same way. If I gotta say a team to win it, that might not be those cheaters out in Golden State. I'd probably go with the Lakers just because they got LeBron. But I think it'll take them some time to get their feet under them. I don't think this is gonna be a top four team for the first 30 games of the season. I think the next 50 games will be their home stretch, and I think they'll be a pretty good team when the playoff time comes around. Are there any teams on the bottom half of the standings that in the West that you guys feel like could even sneak into those top four or could surprise some people out there? Maybe one team.
Oddly enough, I actually think it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. They still have talent. I don't think we've kind of lost hope on Andrew Wiggins and like what he could be, but if Jimmy Butler stays on that team, they have a pretty good squad. I know that you said someone from the bottom half, but I think everything going on with them, everyone's just like, wow, this is a fucked up organization and they're not going to get very far. But at the end of the day, I think they have enough talent to sneak in to the top four if everything goes well in the season. And I think it's kind of hard to say with all the drama they have going on right now.
Yeah, I like the Timberwolves as well. They're extremely talented, but I'm gonna go with the Spurs just because they still have Pop, and they have a new young core around them. DeMar DeRozan's first year over there. We don't know what he's gonna bring to that team, so I'm kind of interested to see what we see on the court from them, and I'm really curious to see if this is going to be the Spurs of the past or if they're going to fall off this year.
Yeah, I think the Spurs are a really good story. I think that'd be interesting. We'll see. I mean, we all know Pop is a great coach and a legend, but we'll see if he can turn this team into like what kind of playoff team they are if they make the playoffs. Because right now I've got them sitting on the outside looking in, but I mean with the Pop effect, he can take them to a 5 seed. They can sneak up on anybody. But so yeah, that San Antonio is going to be really interesting. My team is, I'm kind of torn, but I'm gonna go with Dallas. I think Dallas would probably be pretty good this year. It's a tough West. Making the playoffs would be tough, but I think they can get a 9 or 10 seed, which is incredible progress from where they are last year. And I think it's solely going to be because of Luka Doncic. I think he changes the game, and he's a really, 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 really developed rookie, and he's going to open up a lot of things for that team. They get Harrison Barnes back. Dennis Smith Jr. is pretty good. I think he kind of gets empty buckets at times, but he's still really athletic and can still put the ball in the bucket. So they're a team that I wouldn't be shocked if somehow we're contending for playoffs at the end of the season and we're a 9 or 10 seed.
Yeah. I mean, I think the West is more competitive than the East. I think it always has been. With LeBron going there, it gets a lot more competitive. There's always a team that sneaks in there, and I think that's going to happen this year too. It's just kind of hard to pinpoint which one it is.
Yeah, it could be any one of these. Dallas, Spurs, Phoenix. I think Phoenix is going to be pretty good. You guys think Portland makes the playoffs?
Yeah, I still like Dame. I still like CJ McCollum. And again, they have enough talent to do it. And I think they have pretty good fucking chemistry. Like, I think they've shown multiple times that they can get shit done. It's just never in the right moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they make it as a low seed.
Mm.
I don't think they go far in the playoffs at all. They probably exit first round, but I think they make it in.
I've got him on the outside, and it kind of hurt because I like Dame too. He's one of my favorite basketball players, but I just think this team is just this year is just not good enough.
Yeah, I mean I like Dame, but it's just the Blazers are a team that we constantly talk about every year being, talented, and then we get to the end of the season, we get to the playoffs, and they just underperform. So I'm not putting my cards in that deck anymore. Like, I just don't think I've kind of given up on them.
And they're a team that every year we say are really close or a couple players away, and they never get closer. Like, they've been a player or two away for 3 or 4 years now. It's been too long, and if you're not going to get better, every teams around them are getting better, and they aren't. So, similar question for the East, but they don't have any Warriors out there, so we can treat them like an honest conference. But what are your top 4 teams in the East, and who do you guys see making it out of the East and going to the finals?
Yeah, I think the East is always kind of wild. Now that LeBron's out, I think it comes down to 3 teams: the Boston Celtics, the Toronto Raptors, and the Philadelphia 76ers. The team that could take the next step up and be that 4th team, I'm going to go with the Washington Wizards. I think the Wizards obviously have tremendous talent. There's always been something there. I feel like when LeBron's been in the East, everyone's just kind of played down. And I think because LeBron's out and the East is really up in the air, teams are going to play harder players are going to play harder because they know, like, we can actually make it somewhere now without this freaking inhumane, genetically modified human being is not in our conference. I think the Wizards can take the next step up and be a top 4 team. My favorite out of here, I think, is going to be Boston. They had a pretty good run last year against the Cavs. And I think because they made it to that level, they knew how close they were. I think it's going to inch them closer. I think I was kind of worried about how Gordon Hayward is going to – I'm still worried about how Gordon Hayward's going to fit back in with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Kyrie Irving. But I think that's so much talent. You add in Kyrie, you add in Terry Rozier, you add in Al Horford. That's so much talent. And they're not even just one of the most talented teams in the East. They're one of the most talented teams in the whole entire NBA. I'd put them top 3. So I think the Celtics can really contend for a title. But then again, you think about the Warriors and what the Warriors might do. That's a tough spot to be in. But I think the Celtics should be able to make it to the finals.
Definitely agree. I think the Celtics are my favorite out of the East. I would add to them being one of the most talented teams and say that if the Warriors weren't now one of the most or probably the most talented starting 5 ever, the Celtics are one of the most talented starting 5s ever. But I kind of disagree on the 4 seed. I think the Bucks are going to take that step forward and kind of contend to come out of the East. And another team I think can really improve this year is the Orlando Magic, because I think they've had a really nice core around them for a few years, and with the addition of Mo Bamba, I'm really interested to see what they do on the court this year. But the Celtics are definitely my favorite. Besides that, the Sixers, they have another year under their belt, so we get to see how everyone has improved. Markelle Fultz, it'll be interesting to see him play a full season and what that chemistry looks like with him.
Wow, that Washington pick kind of threw me, Razan. I'm not gonna lie. But now that since we're just talking about Washington, is to me is the Blazers of the East, and if the East was more competitive, I think Washington would get knocked out of the playoffs. Yeah, I think Washington would get knocked out of the playoffs. They're also like the Washington's also one player away, just haven't been able to find that player, and I'm kind of done banking on them. But my top goes, I think the standings will end with Celtics on top, and then Celtics, Sixers, Bucks, then Toronto. But I think the team that comes out of the East to play the Warriors would be the 76ers. I agree with both of you. I think the Celtics have the deepest 10 players in probably the league, probably deeper than the Warriors with their starting five. But the deepest 10 players in the league, Gordon Hayward coming back only makes them more deep. And it's just, what do you really do with that? But at the same time, the Sixers are the most unguardable team in the league. Well, second most, because the Warriors. But the Sixers are the second most unguardable team in the league. I think Ben Simmons is a walking mismatch with his size and position, and Joel Embiid is just a walking mismatch. He's unguardable, and if both of those guys can stay healthy, I think you're looking at two of the best 15 players in the league. Probably 15 players in the league with a relatively deep bench, team that can defend, team that moves the ball. Marco Fultz, I think, is going to be huge this season. Once he gets a couple games under his belt, he's going to be an offensive punch that they've lacked in the past. And he's a young guy. I think they're going to be the team to make it out of the East, to be honest with you guys. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Celtics make it. But my pick is the Sixers. I think Ben Simmons is the truth. And he finally finds a jump shot at some point. Well, maybe mid-range jump shot. 3 is kind of a little ambitious. But I think it's them two. I think they're the only two teams that can really compete with the teams in the West. And when it comes down to which team are going to make it out of the East, I think it's just them two. Everybody else, even the Bucks in Toronto, are class right behind them. So that should.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a distinctive class. They're pretty close to each other, but it's a jump. Are there any teams? I guess Razan, you already kind of gave yours with Washington. But are there any teams in the bottom, outside of your top four, or in the bottom half of the conference that you see making a big jump or making a big leap into the playoffs?
Yeah, the Magic.
You think they make the playoffs?
I feel like the Magic. Oh yeah, they make the playoffs for sure.
Oh, wow.
I mean, name 8 teams better. Like, we already got 4. I mean, name 3 more. I'll say the Heat.
I'll give you the Heat. Indiana.
And we also had different fourth teams, didn't we? You had the Bucks.
I don't know about Indiana.
You had the Bucks. I had the Wizards. And who did Alvin have as the fourth team?
Toronto. But the Bucks were that's the difference.
Yeah.
So we got Celtics, Sixers, Raptors, Bucks.
Yeah, I think we all agree those.
I'll give you the Heat.
I still think the Pacers are better than the Magic are gonna be.
Yeah, I think so too.
But what's up at 7?
Also say
maybe the Pistons.
Maybe the Pistons. I was gonna ask you guys about the Pistons. How do you guys feel about the Pistons and their Twin Towers thing they got going on down there?
Hopefully they could be better. Like I'm not a huge Blake Griffin fan, so it's kind of hard for me to ride on the Pistons. When the trade happened, I was just like, wow, this could be really special, or this could just be eh. And I still think it's gonna be eh, but I think it'll be, like I said, I think everyone's gonna play better because LeBron's no longer in the conference. Like, it's gonna elevate everyone's play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're an up and down team. They have a pretty balanced roster. You just kind of have to see what they're gonna do. But I love Dwayne Casey as the head coach. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. I think Toronto's players just kind of screwed him with the LeBron situation. Every single year they played pretty damn well, and then they play LeBron, and then they get swept. And I think Dwayne Casey will make something out of this team. I don't know how far they go, but I would honestly put the Pistons above the Magic in terms of talent, just straight up paper on paper talent.
Yeah, I'd give it on.
Yeah, I forgot they got
talent.
Dwayne Casey. That makes a huge difference.
Agreed. So I think that might be my 8th team. And still after that, I think, there's still some teams better than the Magic for me. I think the Knicks are better than the Magic. I think Charlotte's better than the Magic.
All right, so at the end of the day, Alvin and I don't agree with Sam regarding the.
I mean,
it's your.
all right,
yeah, it's your
that's cool.
opinion
That's
anyways.
what our picks are for.
Yeah, that's what the picks are for.
Yeah,
I don't know why we're having.
On my team, why don't you name your teams?
I mean,
Shit.
you picking the bottom feeders and shit. I just thought the world should know that you're picking bottom feeders, and they're probably.
I mean,
was
it not the point to pick the bottom feeders that you think is gonna make it the farthest?
No, yes, but but for me the point is to actually. The point is to actually pick a team.
All right, you need to stop getting on my.
And you can ride with the bare minimum. That's cool. Ride with the bare minimum. Me, I'm gonna pick a team that might actually make the playoffs.
Go ahead. What team? See, look at you.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, I had a team that was gonna jump into my team was gonna be Miami. I think Miami's 5th or 6th seed, which is probably better than
they were in the playoffs last year. How is that?
In
the bottom?
Yeah, because when we were talking about it before the show,
you're not following the rules.
Question.
Follow the rules.
All right, bet. Say less. Team that's gonna make the playoffs out of the East.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead with mine because you're taking too long. My surprise team, I'm gonna pick the Knicks. I think David Fizdale is a hell of a head coach too. I think if Kristaps can come back in time, I think he's one of my favorite players. He's fun to watch. Emmanuel Mudiay, that's a decent move, but having Enes Kanter, Tim Hardaway, he always plays extremely hard. Trey Burke can be pretty decent at times. I think they can. I don't think they'll be a top 5 or top 4 seed. I think they'll be number 8 if anything. But it really just depends on the health of Porzingis. Yeah,
Porzingis is going to be key, and I'm ready for him to make a step, the next step. If he doesn't get much better this season, I'm kind of he's falling down a pedestal of young big men and stuff like that. Like he's not held in the same regard.
Well, I mean, he's averaged what I'm looking at it right now: 14, 18, and then 22. And then he got hurt after 48 games. So he was playing extremely well. He shoots there's a great 3-point shot, pretty efficient. His field goal percentage overall needs to get a bit better. How the hell are you a big man shooting 40%?
Is this going to be his 4th year already?
Yeah, it's his 4th season. How the hell are you a big man shooting 40% from the 3, but your total field goal percentage is 44? That makes no sense, right?
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that is weird.
That's not very. And his teams are very bad. I need to see some more wins from him before I'm like, yeah, he's the next big anything. Wow.
Yeah, I agree. He's kind of fallen down. I mean, averaging 22 points, I can't argue with that, but he hasn't quite reached the level that we thought. There was a point in time where I thought he would be like a top 5 player in the East, and I don't know if that's true right now.
I agree with you. I'm picking the Hornets. The Hornets didn't make the playoffs last year.
There you go, following rules.
There we go. Thank you. So my sleeper pick's definitely the Hornets. They're more talented than some of these other teams that we're talking about. They're more talented, so I'm gonna pick them to win the East. And I don't really believe in them that much. Is Kemba Walker? He's really good, but he's not that good, and he doesn't elevate the Charlotte team high enough. But this is a big year for him, and people are starting to kind of give up on Kemba. He wants to hold himself high in that point guard conversation. Well, show it, prove me right, take your team to the playoffs, so I can follow rules and still pick a team that makes the playoffs. Unlike you, sorry fucks, who pick losing teams. Magic aren't going anywhere.
That was the whole point, picking teams that no one would think of. But all right.
Yeah, but your teams aren't making the playoffs. Mine is.
Neither is yours, bitch.
My team's making the playoffs. All right. Anyway, moving on. How you guys feel about Miami? And I know this your man last year, and I know. So I'm gonna hope them the best, and I hope they make the playoffs, and I hope they contend. But realistically, how y'all feel about Miami and Hassan Whiteside? Because he's kind of one of the more puzzling stories in the NBA. He's a really good big man, has everything you want from a big man on paper, except he can't really shoot the 3. But the Heat don't play him that much, and in closing minutes, he's often not on the floor. They had a beef last year, him and the coach, about playing time and whatnot. He does have an attitude problem, I'll give him that. But he's still a really good center and an amazing shot blocker. So how do you guys feel about the Heat and Whiteside?
Yeah, I think the Heat are an interesting team. I don't know which one of you guys named them as your surprise team, but
Me.
yeah, and I think the Heat with Dwayne Wade's leadership, I think they'll always kind of be in a good spot. It's also his last year. Whiteside, a lot of it has to do with him not hustling at all times. He just kind of seems to be lagging behind sometimes. If he doesn't get the ball when he wants it, he'll just kind of jog back on defense, and a big man will score, and it'll be his fault. But like he has all the tools. He's over 7 feet tall. He's lanky as hell. He can't shoot the three at all, like you said, but he does everything else pretty damn well. He has to take a step forward, or the Heat should just move away from him. I think last year we talked about Whiteside potentially getting traded, and I think a similar situation can arise this year if they see the same issues. And I think he'd get traded to a team that will contend, that needs a really good big man, and that's willing to take his shit in order to win. I don't know if his career will last beyond the Heat. If Jimmy Butler comes to the Heat, there's been numerous reports that they almost traded for him. I think that'd be pretty cool. He'd want to stay, but after Dwayne Wade leaves, I don't know if there's a lot that would make you want to stay in Miami.
I think they have a pretty talented roster, but I'm shocked that Hassan Whiteside is still on the team. I thought he would have been traded or cut over the offseason just because of all the problems that he's caused. But he's obviously a really talented player, so I can understand not wanting to let him go. I'm not sure if Dwayne Wade is going to be all that much of a game changer this year. We saw him kind of take a step back last year, and I think he'll take another step back this year. For that reason, I think they'll be like lower than they were. They might still make the playoffs, but they'll be like the 7 or 8 seed, just because I don't think the rest of their roster is talented or experienced enough to get them over the edge. I like Justice Winslow though.
Oh, I like Justice Winslow now. I wasn't that big of a fan of him early in his career, but his last season he was having a really good year, especially defensively.
Yeah, he's always been a pretty good defensive player.
Yeah, but last year he was like guarding the other team's best defender and making an impact, which at that age with his size and athleticism, you could really be a game-changing defender. So I like him, and I like Richardson. And honestly, I like Whiteside. I really think Whiteside has a lot of off-the-court issues with attitude and stuff, but shot-blocking centers like him are hard to come by, and he does have to work on his motor because, Razan, you're right. It does, like, every time he doesn't get the ball in the post, it seems like he jogs back and his man scores, and he's, like, still at the free throw line. So he's going to have to work on that, but to me, he's too good to just give up when you don't really have much behind him. It's not like they've got a young center who's emerging who they can't figure out how to split time with. Whiteside. It's Whiteside or bust. Not for the team, but at the center position. So his contract is outrageous. Agreed. I think he's better than he was last year. I don't know if he'll ever live up to his contract, but I would ride with them hoping to get the best out of Whiteside because he's not something you don't find 7-footers walking on the street that block 2.5 shots a game.
Yeah, I mean they have Kelly Olynyk as his backup, who he's not the same as a Hassan Whiteside in the paint, but he started for the Celtics a few years ago, so he's a pretty talented big man. I just want to say that if this team right here got Jimmy Butler, it would make a complete difference. Like, I think they would be a top 4 team in the East. Just because
I think so too.
Of the pieces that they have, and adding Jimmy Butler to it, I think he would fit perfectly. He would be the perfect complement to everyone. He would bring that defensive spark. He would probably work well with Justice Winslow and, show him a few things, help him improve on offense.
Yeah, their defense would be absolutely nasty.
A new attitude. Yeah, I think if this team added Jimmy Butler, they would make a huge improvement.
I agree. I think that is a perfect fit situation. I agree with you. Is that it from the East? Oh, how do you guys feel about the Cavs? How do you guys feel about the Cavs, real quick? They're gonna be any good?
No.
Not even worth watching, huh?
Yeah, probably not.
All right.
When JR's your best scorer.
You
It's
sleep
gonna
on
be a
Colin
rough year.
Sexton. You sleep on Colin Sexton. I don't know if he's. I'm not saying he's a better player than J.R. Smith, but he might score more points than J.R. Smith next year. We're gonna see how good J.R. Smith is without LeBron passing them wide open shots. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, contested shots, but the shots that J.R. likes nonetheless. All right. Well, last question. Give me your MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and Most Improved if you're feeling up to it. All right. I got my MVP, Greek Freak. I think he's just in a perfect position to get MVP. Team's gonna need it, and he's just getting better and better every year. Defensive Player of the Year. This is tough. I'm gonna pick Kawhi. I think he's gonna come back with a vengeance in Toronto, and he's gonna win Defensive Player of the Year. I don't even think it's gonna be particularly close. Rookie of the Year, it's definitely going to Luka Doncic. I think he's the best rookie in the class, and I think he's gonna have as many opportunities to score as anybody. Not even just score, but create. Kind of similar to Ben Simmons. He might not be the highest scorer, but it's going to be clear that he's one of the best offensive rookies. And as I already said on the show, Most Improved is going to Jamal Murray. He's going to score 20 points next year. Just wait on it. 20-point scorer.
Besides Most Improved, you basically took the words out of my mouth for everything. I was going to say the same thing about Giannis. He's been improving every year. He's with the same team. I think it's hard to win MVP when you move to a different team. I was going to say LeBron, but I think his stats might, slump a little just for that reason. Kawhi, of course, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder coming back. He hasn't played in like a year, so that'll be interesting to see. Rookie of the Year, Luka Doncic, like you said, he's a Ben Simmons type of player. He's in his rookie year this time, so we don't have to argue about what he's he'll be my clear-cut Rookie of the Year. And Most Improved Player, no one really comes to mind, so I'll just go with you and say Jamal Murray.
So I'm going to go with, this is kind of crazy, but I'm going to go with Ben Simmons for MVP.
Okay.
I think we talked about the 76ers being a top 2 team in the East, and I think we've seen a lot of what Embiid could do, but Simmons was coming on strong last year. I think he's going to keep improving. I think his jump shot should be getting better. I think he's going to be an all-around player. I don't think he'll average a triple-double or anything like that, but I think he'll be pretty damn close to it. I also think he'll be more efficient at it. I also think that he'll get it in ways better than Westbrook has been getting them, and I think he's going to propel this team to a really good record. And so I'm going to go with Ben Simmons for MVP. For Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Draymond Green. I think with everything that they have on the team, there's not a lot that he's going to have to do when it comes to taking care of everything on the court. But I think whoever gets matched up with Draymond is going to have a tough time, just because I think you have Boogie's presence in the paint. You have Clay's defense outside. Draymond just does a hell of a job really getting in opponents' heads, stealing the ball, blocking shots, getting defensive rebounds. So I'm going to give it to Draymond for Defensive Player of the Year. Rookie of the Year, I'm gonna go with you guys. I think Luka Doncic is freaking absolutely amazing. I think he's actually going to get off to a little slow start when the season starts, but I think he'll pick it up relatively quickly, maybe after like 10 to 13 games. And Most Improved Player.
Before you go, I'm going to change my Most Improved, and I'm going to go Dennis Smith Jr. Teaming him up with Doncic, I think it's going to create a lot more opportunities for him. I think he already had kind of an off year last year, so I look for him to get up over – he scored 10.8 points a game last year. I look for him to get at least over 15, if not more.
That's it? 10.8? Wow.
Yeah.
That seems pretty low for him. That's a good pick, though.
Most Improved Player. Damn, I really think it's going to be someone from the Lakers. And we talked a couple of pods ago about who's going to benefit most from LeBron's emergence here. I think it's going to be Brandon Ingram. I think he's a freaking freak, and I think LeBron's also a freak. LeBron's just a bigger freak. But I think LeBron's going to get creative with Ingram for his athleticism, and you'll see Ingram take a next step forward. We've definitely seen flashes of his talent, but I think this year he puts it together a little bit better. I don't know where he's going to be in regards to scoring and assists and rebounds and all that, but I do think he'll take enough of a step to where he's in the discussion. But I'll go with Brandon Ingram. I think when LeBron comes to a team, everyone relatively gets better. I think he'll be the one to benefit the most, and he'll have a shot for MVP, or not MVP, but most improved player because of that.
All right. Well, since we're on most improved, as you guys know, the Wolves got a hell of a pep talk last week from Jimmy Butler. You think Karl-Anthony Towns or Wiggins make significant jumps in their play? Forward or backward? It really doesn't matter. But you think they get any better?
No, I don't think they get any better. I think Andrew Wiggins gets a little worse, which sucks because like he had immense talent. The players from that draft, it just didn't really work out. The top two guys, and there was so much hype around them.
Oh, Parker and Wiggins.
Yeah, Parker and Wiggins, and holy shit! I can't believe Jimmy Butler did what he did.
That's so crazy.
For an NBA player, for a grown ass man to come to another grown ass man and talk all that shit, it has to hurt. And it honestly makes you look weak. And you know who it's regarding. So, like I talked about Draymond. Oh my God, do not let Draymond get on Andrew Wiggins on any freaking play, or that's not that's not going to be the end of it. That's going to be a fight. I don't know if he'd fight. He seems.
And Andrew Wiggins not fighting. Like,
yeah,
you know how mad I would be?
No way.
He's from Canada. They don't do that.
If anybody on the Wolves decides to fight over trash talk this season, if y'all didn't want to fight Jimmy Butler that day in practice, don't fight anybody.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse from here. Like, it's going to get worse, and I think he's going to take a hit on his play. I think the Wolves should just move on from him because he's not that good. But I think
a huge deal.
Huh?
I thought they just gave him a huge deal.
Yeah, they did, but.
Hey, but he promised, though.
Actually, now that we talk about it, he has to get better now. Like, actually, I'm picking him for my second most improved player because he said he would. 2 seasons ago, he said he'd get better, and he slipped up last year. So this has to be his year. Like he said he would.
He crossed his heart. There's no way he doesn't.
Man, out here breaking promises. I can't believe it. I still can't believe they gave him that money. Yeah, that wraps up our NBA special. As usual, thank you guys for listening, and we always want to hear from our fans out there. So please hit us up if you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, anything. We want to hear from you guys as much as possible. We had fun. Great episode. Anything from you guys?
Thank y'all for listening. Enjoy some NBA basketball finally.
Yeah, enjoy basketball. And